We're going to see Wukong ban away Warhead Junction. Brax's holdout has been removed by KT in the first map. Did you happen to catch it?
It is Cursed Hollow is the first map.
Yeah, first map is going to be Cursed Hollow. Most of you guys know exactly how this map works, but just in case you don't, you channel up to 3 tributes total out of the first 5, and once you get 3 tributes, you will obtain a curse, which will disable enemy structures and put all of the enemy minions at 1 HP, making them very easy to kill and giving you a lot of push power. The draft is now beginning for our first match of the day. It is July the 12th. It's going to be the first match between Wukong and KT. And this is a best of 2. The winner will get 3 points. If it is a draw, as best of 2s can end up in, both teams will get 1 point. And of course a loss gains you 0 points. This is phase 2. The whole round robin is starting again, and we are going to be seeing the first ban here by KT heading into this first match on Cursed Hollow.
Yes, we are, and it's going to be the Uther. Now, we have seen a bit of a shift in most of the regions, including China, towards Ariel being the #1 pick, but if you plan on running high CC, Uther can still be exceptionally efficient. So it is a fair first ban for them. Now, are they going to put that prioritization on the Ariel? Maybe bring her in as the first pick, as we've seen in quite a few of the regions nowadays.
Yeah, it does offer a lot of utility. She deals good damage to front lines. She heals clumps of heroes really well, so she's good with heavy frontline as well. She functions well in a double support comp, and she really synergizes extremely potently with great area of effect damage dealers like Vala, Lunara, and Gul'dan. And you call the Tetcher, Ariel comes out, and this is a new way to open up drafts these days, leading into pretty much just about anything.
Indeed, very efficient. You do still need those hope generators, but we've seen multiple players prove you don't need one of those, like 5 dedicated hope generators we would normally expect to see. As long as you make liberal use of your Q, you're going to be able to keep your energy at reasonable levels to keep that healing up. Now, Wukong. The Nubrak has been left available to them. They're going to start with Greymane, and then the Nubrak Greymane is a very standard opening that we could be seeing.
Yeah, Nubarak, always a very strong warrior. One of the best basic kits in the game. Not extremely survivable with his low health pool, but he makes up for a lot of that with his disabling effects, his stuns, the slows, and that shield as well. Greymane comes out here, great poke damage with the cocktail. Cursed Bullet can really chunk down warriors, or you can go for the throat and finish off people that are low. Now on this rather big map, the Haka comes out as well with his global burrow ability. Can use it once every 60 seconds.
Lovely ability. We see the double support Valor composition already coming in for KT. Still immensely popular in all the regions, but China especially. We didn't see the Nubrak, it was at a hacker, like you said, so Nubrak has been left open, and that leads me to believe that we're potentially on the live patch, where Cocoon may have been nerfed.
Yeah, Cocoon nerf from 9 to 6 range, slightly slower travel speed, about a small health nerf as well to Nubrak, so he's definitely more squishy, and we're gonna have to wait and see how that plays out, but I do suspect your hypothesis may be right that today, the 12th of July, where all the regions have already been patched, that HGC China is also being played off of that live patch. No matter what, of course, Stukov is not allowed yet, as he is a new hero, and that would be a global ban for now, until 2 weeks of time has passed. That's global HGC rules.
To be fair, it was this matchup, actually, where that rule was apparently forgotten. In the first rotation, where we ended up with Wukong Gaming trying to lock in Malthael like 4 days after his release.
We're ready.
We're ready. So they had to fully stop the draft and go straight back through all the way from the start again, duplicating everything up to that point. It was very amusing. We were like, wait, what? They changed the rules without telling us? But nope. It's just Wukong had forgotten the rules.
Okay, fair enough. Honest mistake, I suppose. Arthas and Abathur coming out as bans. Generally with Vala Ariel tasks, you're so happy to take straight up engagements from level 1 onwards. And what you really don't want to have to deal with too much is Abathur global experience power. I don't think it's as big of an issue, actually, Abathur. He's very strong on this map, but it makes early game even weaker, generally speaking. So I don't think it's the number one ban that could have been considered, but you're still avoiding that late game power spike that Abathur offers on Cursed Hollow.
You're removing that snowball factor that Abathur can offer by getting a big XP lead in the mid to late game.
Yeah.
So it is fair enough to remove it. And it would have comboed quite well with what Wukong did end up picking, the Illidan and the Rhaegar. So they're already moving their way into that melee assassin, that split push style, still getting some split XP. In two ways, the Hacker and the Hunt Illidan.
This is kind of a 3.5 melee hero composition in Greymane's hybridism. He has ranged and Worgen melee form. And since they don't have a proper main tank yet, it could be a 4 to 5 melee comp, which is pretty crazy, actually, because Ariel excels against melee. She gets that sweeping blind at level 13. She can get the Righteous Assault sweep reset at level 1. So I'd be mortified to pick this composition into Ariel, which has been broadcasted to be the first pick for KT since so long. And now with that Zul pick, I love it.
Yeah.
And we're going to see...
good against melee. Zul.
Zul, Putrid Bile, Zul's Cursed Strikes, reducing the attack speed of anyone in melee range. And we're also going to see, and I guess we're going to get it confirmed right away, whether this is the new patch. And I think it is, because China always plays on live. And Zul has just had a rework. And I'm really curious to see which build KT is going to be using with him.
Yeah, I mean, China were picking Zul even before the rework as sort of a pseudo counter to Malthael by basically avoiding fighting Malthael, because that's how you counter him.
Push power, abusing
exactly.
his low wave clear. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's going to be Muradin coming in as the last pick. So that's second tank, a little bit of attack speed slow of their own, some good CC and disruption. I'm concerned how they're going to get to Valor. Like, it's basically got to be a hunt, curse spirit or go for the throat, but I'm really unsure they're going to be able to get through that Holy Trinity. Yeah,
I share your concern here, Tetcher, as getting to Vala would require maybe a Dwarf Toss in. There are a lot of zoning tools, Crystal Aegis, Detainment Strike, that lash away stun by Ariel. You've got a potential Force Wall, you've got Shield and Heal from Tassadar and Ariel, and then you have the front line of Stitches, Putrid Bile, Bone Prison Zul with the reduced auto attack speed, Cursed Strikes as well. It's pretty tough. You could maybe burrow in from behind with the Haka, jump in with Muradin, Haymaker maybe, but I think he needs to get Avatar.
Who do you think these are, Noblesse? This is this is China, not Korea.
And that didn't work.
Something so crazy.
And that didn't work out against Dignitas. They suffered that comeback loss on Battlefield of Eternity in that Haymaker game.
Yeah, it was a cool idea. They just never executed it. Dignitas were able to play around it too well. For now, though, we are just loading into the game, getting ready for our first game of the day. What do you think of the drafts? Which one is your favourite, personally?
I love KT's draft here, and I'm not just saying that because they're the favourite team for this match. I really do like their draft. They've got the double support Vala, which is very strong on a big map like Cursed Hollow, because it makes it hard for your opponent to rotate and attribute the right amount of defenses to your push. Are you going top at level 1 or are you going bottom? They simply don't know. So they have to try and kind of stand in the middle and react to you. It's a strong push comp, and you've got Zul and Stitches to stop the advances of the front line. I love KT's draft. How about you, Tetcher?
I like KT's draft. I do like the style that we are seeing from Wukong. The double global potential could be their way of getting out of this, even though they're going to not die, basically. Even though they're going to not win team fights most of the time, looking at the drafts together. They have the chance of giving themselves a high enough level via that split-pushing style, as long as they can avoid Zul to give themselves enough of a lead to maybe take a sneaky fight with a talent advantage.
Yeah, of course, Zul, this is not Zul's favorite map. We know Zul as one of the best double laning heroes, as he can quickly push a lane, rotate to another lane by mounting up and going there, and then push that one as well. He will barely lose experience doing a double lane on a map like Blackheart's Bay or Tomb of the Spider Queen. But on Cursed Hollow, the lanes are far apart, so that does not work out as well. He's far more likely to be seen as either a solo laner or as part of a 3 or 4 man lane. I guess they already have Valatas Ariel, so maybe they don't put him in the 3 lane. But yeah, that's not ideal for him. And then we do have powerful global heroes, like you said. Illidan the Hunt can join fights late, so can the Haka. That means you can get that extra wave push right before you join your global team again. Before you join the rest of your team for a team fight.
Going off his mousepad there. So have you had a chance to play the new Zul yet? And if so, what kind of builds are you thinking are going to take precedence?
I played him once yesterday. I've played him once on the PTR as well. And on the PTR I tried the skeleton build, which can be really nice if you are doing a lot of laning, if a lot of the team fights on a battleground take place in those lanes. On Cursed Hollow, that doesn't happen as much. Most of the fights are in isolated territory, in the jungle, so the skeleton build is not as good. And so maybe you would see the build I tried last night with the Cursed Strikes. You get bonus cooldown reduction every time you hit heroes, you get healing from heroes, and then you can get bonus attack speed while Cursed Strike hitting heroes at level 13. Combining all that, you get a lot of self-sustain, you're slowing everyone for a large amount of uptime, and you're attacking very fast and doing a lot of damage. So that could be quite strong against this composition, Illidan Rhaegar, so long as they can keep Zul alive. And forget you not, Tetcher, if you Tassadar shield Zul during all that, he gains life from every hero he hits with Cursed Strike. Not just his own self-sustain, but Tassadar's as well. That means if he's half-life, one sweep will pretty much get him up to full. Just like that.
Yes, it will. So, going to be interesting to see. This will be the first time we have now had it confirmed, by the way. This is the Stukov patch that we are playing on, but of course no Stukov allowed.
Yeah, no Stukov going to be allowed for this one, because it has not been 2 weeks yet since he was released. Just one more glimpse of you and I. Of course, you might be having a webcam sometime soon, isn't it?
Couple months maybe. There's cables now. Don't know what that's going to offer though.
Okay, well, we're hoping. The game is starting, ladies and gents, so enjoy the first game here between these two teams. It's going to be Wukong versus KT. See them here on the left. Darling, Lauhu.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, they have so many letters. Whereas KT, they have T-Dye, Neptune, Fury, Sea Ink, and Butcher. And some good B-step game from T-Dye coming in at the start.
Alright, here we go. Go ahead and introduce the opening parts here, Titch.
Alright, so we see KT already hovering around mostly the bottom of the map. I'm not sure whether they're attempting to stop a big push with Illidan, which is exactly what ends up happening with Illidan moving down to moving up to that top lane, putting on some pressure. Very little damage actually done.
Okay, so they're not comfortable with allowing Vala Tassadar Ariel, or okay, they were worried. They were worried that they were going to get engaged upon. So they start on the tower and they say, "Hold on a second, is this safe?" Upon seeing 3 to 4 in the bottom lane, they proceed with their work and they'll start taking down a tower. Doubles actually support Illidan can push like a horse. It's crazy. In the same time, Vala, Tassadar, Ariel are doing the same here. And they are letting Zul clear mid lane and go to the top.
Yeah, Stitches is holding mid lane to try and hold against Zul, but we are now, holding against Muradin, where right now Zul is trying to defend mid top as best he can, but he is outnumbered, and that is going to be the first fort of the game. Full base race to start this game. We're going to see the bot one go down as well. KT will get this.
Yeah, and Zul did a good job. The number one priority for the solo laner is to stay alive. If you can deal damage and reduce the damage output by the attackers, that is a great thing. That's a bonus. But your number one priority must be to stay alive. In that way, you can still get experience for the minions that end up dying to your structures. If you die, that is the biggest handicap of all, because now they can push with reckless abandon, getting XP, and you losing that XP on your towers.
Indeed you can. So, here is Zul continuing. Zul is just still top, trying to protect the lane as best as he can. I did just lag, so I'm going to have to refresh for a second. So, 1 second. That is irritating. I am back up to 8 seconds.
Okay, let me try and sync that up with you. Let's see. I am at 8 seconds also, so we should be roughly synced up.
Yep, roughly synced up indeed would be lovely. So, we see KT try to push in the mid lane a bit. Illidan putting on some pressure. Good engagement from Rhaegar from above as well. Zul dropping the root onto Rhaegar, but Illidan is still able to pick up that kill. Dahaka already dragging in T-Die, trying to slow him down. Helping Hand was attempted, and it was landed. Unfortunately, Ariel was already dead.
Not bad, actually, for Wukong here, as the #1 underdog of the league, to be ahead here in a tribute, to get that fort down, even as they lose one, not losing their solo laner, and getting 2 takedowns here. Nice job.
Oh, that's
not interesting.
Indeed. Alright, well, I guess we'll wait for that to finish.
Radiocast!
And we can hear some Psystorms. I assume the boss has been started, or maybe a bruiser camp. Not entirely sure which.
I just heard Ariel reattach her Bestow Hope target.
Ah, yes, with the Sakura skin. But
you know, I just read a Reddit thread, the importance of game sound in Heroes of the Storm, and it was never more glaringly obvious than now.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We are a piggyback broadcast. We use the clean feed from HGC China, so we are subject to the clean feed signal. Sorry, ladies and gents, to be able to miss this image.
Yeah, you can still hear Psystorms. Valor is doing some damage to something. Just poking stuff down as we await for this. Zul, by the way, to start off with Shackler at level 1, and after that, I have no idea, because my build, the build thing that I use, is not updated for new Zul, so I have no idea what his second talent was.
If I see it, I will know. Did you see the icon at least?
Blue. It was blue. It was a Q talent, I think.
Oh,
sorry, a W talent. A W talent.
Okay, if it's a W talent, it is the cooldown reduction for Cursed Strikes.
We're back.
Image is back. Aww,
yeah.
I kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's double W that we are seeing.
Okay, so Zul is indeed going for that Shackler. Shackler has been changed. Every time Zul auto-attacks with Cursed Strike or otherwise, anyone that has slow, stun, or root effects on them, he gets a cooldown reduction on his Shackler. Shackler is a percentage-based health shield that also provides a 30% slow to anyone around Zul. So he can use his shield a lot. He can use the bone armor very frequently. And then he has gone into the Lifesteal Cursed Strikes at level 7 with the cooldown reduction. So he can do it often and he can heal from it. Teamfight breaking out.
T-Die once again. Root is landed but cleansed beautifully by Rhaegar. T-Die is under huge duress and is taken out here. Now it's Neptune in a little bit of trouble. Illidan is super low but is still going forward. Tassadar trying to get him down. Rhaegar with the clutch heal keeping Illidan alive. And now this is the wonderful thing about Wukong. They always win the early game and they always find a way to throw. So I'm going to be extremely excited to see how they pull this one off.
Okay, so although they're ahead a full level, 2 tributes, you are skeptical because I'm
almost positive they're going to lose because this is always what happens. They were ahead for like a full 10 minutes against E-Star and still lost the game.
Okay, but you know, someday it's always time to break the curse, Thatcher. You've been jaded by disappointing performance after performance, but you gotta believe. They get the curse.
I gotta believe. They're actually going for a metamorphosis, Illidan.
Wow.
So, cool. Long time since we've seen that. Dahaka trying to find his way to freedom. He's dropped the isolation onto Zul, trying to give himself a chance. Valor damage, but that's speed. Dahaka gets out, but the first curse going over to Wukong. They're putting on a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, and generally speaking, you want to do a minimum of double lane soak during the curse to get those 1 HP minions down, to get that XP for it. Look at that. Cursed minions, free XP, thank you very much. That's 400 XP right there. And, you know, Dahaka's absence from the lane does hurt a little bit. Murden is picking up the slack in the bottom lane for Wukong. We have how long remaining on the curse? 25 seconds. Level 10 is about to be reached. So Wukong plays it safe. That's sure. They're going to go set up for the boss. It is as obvious of a move as it is effective.
Yeah, the question is, can KT do anything about it? They have their level 10s as well. It looks like they are coming down, but the watchtower is taken, so this is seen, and they're very slow. The boss is just about to fall.
Yep, they're just a little bit too late. Stitches comes in. If it was ETC, maybe he can jump in, but Stitches cannot. Turns on Putrid Bow, gets Aegis. Powerful zoning. Metamorphosis has been used. Illidan goes ham there, goes in. He's very low. Illidan!
The poison numbers, the poison nova from Zul is too high. The Hungering Arrow nearly finishes off 0. The multi-shot, though, will do the job. That's going to be 3 kills to 0 in favor of KT, and everyone else very nearly died. And now KT going to have to spend some time clearing up the boss.
Wow. Okay, so they get the boss, but they were 7-0 in takedowns. They were 1.5 level in lead. 2 forts ahead. Well, 1 fort ahead. And suddenly, Wukong does go down. You said it. The lead doesn't matter.
That's what they do. And this is what we called as well. Their team fight potential just isn't the same as KT. They were winning anytime it came to these cheeky matches where they were catching people individually, where they were split pushing, where they were doing all of this stuff. The second it comes to a team fight, KT able to take the lead here.
Now, if
they're still behind the level though.
If Wukong decided to not get the boss, if they went for the fort, they would have structural damage on the fort in excess of what they have now. The boss is a means to an end. It gives a small portion of experience, but it's not a whole lot. They were against level 9.6, which was level 10 just in time for KT to contest at the boss. And you may feel that Wukong was a little bit distracted by the boss. Had they just pushed the fort, they would have done more damage. Anytime you can take the boss and have any risk while doing it, it would have been better to just do a trickling of damage on the fort. And then when the opponent comes to defend, just split up. So it is that judgment, that shot call there that kind of went wrong for Wukong.
Okay, KT were thinking about attempting the boss. They did start it, but seem to have cancelled it upon the showing of Zero's. Zero putting on a good little roam here. I also like that they put Zero on Muradin. Like I said, his oh, hang on, jumps in for Seeing, rolling backwards. The Taman strike onto Lang, trying to keep him away as they micro backwards. The isolation dropped. In comes the Metamorphosis, trying to focus down T-Die, but he's microing backwards too much, even with the isolation on his head, just staying near his team and microing away. And then trying to finish him off. It's going to be Neptune, who is the first to fall. Known as T-Guy, sorry. Then followed by Neptune, as KT are getting slaughtered this fight.
Yeah, Daling did great here. He sought Auriel out. As soon as his Metamorphosis hit, he went straight for Auriel, and no one was helping him. Initially, Daling had a hard time because he got slowed by the residual sweep of Zul. His attack speed was not high. He lacked the self-sustain, but when he finally broke away from Zul, that position was never corrected for KT, and Illidan took down Auriel finally, who unselfishly Crystal Aegis one of her allies. And in the end, Wukong ran away with that victory. 5 takedowns, they get a full wipe, they get another curse, they have talent lead, and they get the boss. And they can do something with this here. There's a small window where level 13 for KT is not yet there.
Yeah, they're looking to put on at least a little bit of pressure here. Also, it is Ailing. Their full team tag is WKGRD, except for one of them who actually has DB, and that is Moon. Not entirely sure what those stand for, but yeah, that is the team acronym. We do see them abandon pushing with the boss. Level 13 is available. The boss, though, does make it through the front wall and will do a little bit of damage to the keep, though, as it is completely abandoned.
Yeah. A little bit of damage. It is a wise retreat here, I feel like, by WKG, because they did not want to push in against level 13 talent. They're so close to level 16 that they can get that advantage before choosing to pick a fight. They're setting a trap now. I like this. You put the Haka in the bot lane to pretend you're somewhere else. And here they are, going for Stitches. 30% damage immediately. He's so exposed, he's isolated!
He's putrid vials, but he's still taken out. But immediately, the crazy AoE damage coming from Seeing, who just completed a quest stack, as he turns onto Illidan and shreds through him. and they try to turn around. They kill off the Illident, but Zul has dropped 2 as well as Tass. It's a 2 versus 3 right now. In comes Dahaka, making it a 4 versus 1. T9 drops, and Wukong take another fight. They have a 3-level lead.
And they're gonna get a free siege camp as well. They delayed the siege camp cap, or yeah, they just picked that up. That beacon was available. Presumably some advanced tactics, slightly too advanced for this thing that happened here. It was such a nice trap. Stitches goes flying to the next universe as he walked into that brush without checking it with a slam to see if there's any baddies. They just couldn't. You know, the tribute really worked out well here. The position for WKG, because they already set up to trap here off of a Dahaka's bait position. Dahaka shows bot lane, and where do you normally put your global? In another lane than where you are. And then you can say, okay, I can go across the map. And instead they are covering the Dahaka lane with 4, and it was just a little bit too surprising for KT. The tribute spawned, and you would think that once you see that tribute, you're going to get a convergence on the position, but KT didn't know WKG was already there.
And as much as I'm a British person and hate to say this, my bitterness may have to end, as we do see Wukong Gaming pushing in with the boss. They're unlikely to be able to end here unless they can get a couple kills, but they do have a level 16 talent lead, whereas level 14 is all that KT have.
Well, yeah, and that's still a pretty big bridge to gap, pretty big gap to bridge here for KT. This boss may get the keep. It's not a guarantee, but there's a curse as well. Dahaka grabs it.
This is potentially a disaster. The boss is dropping though, so they won't have to worry about it pushing in with that. Down goes the boss. Keep survive. Hook lands onto Laohu, who is able to pull back at least a little bit. Gets rooted, but Ancestral will keep him alive. There's Poison Nova doing good damage output here. Metamorphosis keeping Illidan alive though. The Aegis dropped onto Stitches is good. Beautiful heal here. And Illidan is taken out. Valor drops as well though. It's a 4 versus 4. And Stitches having to micro back. Neptune is doing crazy damage in the backline. Takes down Muradin. Moving forward, wants to get to Haka, but he's out of abilities here. Finally taken out. Laohu barely survives the side storm. That was just Lang. Can he escape? Hook back in. The Taper Strike doesn't hit the wall though. They will be able to finish him off. But the keep did fall, but that is a fight won by KT.
Lang stayed a little bit too long, as after the burrow he went a few steps back in there. Why? I'm not exactly sure. Overall, still a victory for WKG. They get 1 keep. They nearly get a second, but look at this team fight. Just do me a favor and look at Zul. Full life. He drops lower and lower. We see Illidan go down against the Crystal Aegis there. Zul gets focused by 4 members. He drops to half life. And suddenly, the curse strikes.
Just so much damage output.
Amazing.
Focusing onto that Muradin. And if you're able to take down a Muradin on any hero, you know you're doing your job correctly. Rhaegar, Greymane very nearly dropping as well. And look, you can see this mid-4. That very nearly died while being pushed in by cursed minions. The cursed minions actually nearly took that down.
Yeah, I think it was buffered
by Tash shields.
It was buffered by Bruiser Camp, presumably. Otherwise, you never get that kind of tankiness from a curse push.
Indeed. So, very nicely done by KT. Still in it. They're now even on talents, but level 20 is on the way for Wukong Gaming. They're just on the defense right now, rotating around, grabbing XP, but all the lanes are pushed up. Soaking for them in any lane that isn't mid lane is pretty difficult right now.
Yeah. They are actually setting up for boss. They see Tassadar bot lane, so they know that the major vision for KT is missing. There goes the siege camp capture as well. So they knew that at least 2 heroes were bot, Tassadar plus whoever took the camp, probably 3. But they also know that all that is done. And although WKG has a 2-level lead, they would ideally like to wait until level 20. But if Stitches walks into the bush again, anything is possible, I guess.
Yeah, they blow him up happily as Butcher does move forward, scouting around a little bit more cautiously this time, but still has to be monumentally careful. Lang, probably the safest hero to be doing this, is going to try and soak a little bit more XP, and that, with him showing, is the key for KT to start the boss. Risky move, and they really do need to leash it right now, as Muradin does show.
Yeah, they want to force an engagement right here. They see level 20 on the horizon. They know there's no way to force a fight except to do the most daring of all, vaulting into a boss.
The boss is leashed, but Illidan's now just killing it on his own. As KT
just get the
are
boss,
pulling
Illidan.
back here. Muradin jumps in, the boss is leashed, but Illidan metamorphosizing in, trying to drop damage output, gets poisoned over, he's left alone. But Ancestral lands, keeping him alive. Dimensional Shift has started into the background, but it's still going to be Muradin, then Illidan that fall, and that's what happens when you slightly stagger your fight. And we're going to see KT killing off 3 heroes, actually. And now they are going to take this boss for realsy this time.
Thatcher, you have the entire red team corralled out of the boss area. The boss is 10% life. You have a solo boss hero like Illidan attacking it. And instead, at level 19.9, they choose to force a fight. This is exactly what KT wants. KT put all their cards on the table and they said, here's the situation. It's a little bit awkward, but here's the thing. We don't want to fight against level 20. We know we're going to lose that fight. We've been losing most of the game and we're against Storm tier talents. So what we're going to do, we're going to do something so crazy, risky and daring that you have no choice but to punish us for it. Alright, you've done it. You've punished us for it. We tried it. You've taken it from us. We're ready to back off, give you the boss. Oh, you want to fight right before? You're giving us exactly what we want? Sure. And it's not just that, but it's also the positioning in which. Although waiting for level 20 is great, it is also okay to take a level 19 versus 17 fight, provided that the positioning is good. If the conditions of the fight are favorable, it's still okay to not wait for that level 20. But they weren't. It was the worst of everything. And I see what you mean now with WKG. There's so much potential in this team, but some of the calls.
Yeah, they always find a way in the late game. They're still ahead. They still have 20, but 20 is just hit by KT. Storm tier talents available. Twilight Archon, the increased Poison Nova coming in. We're going to have Poison Skeletons. As the hook lands onto Lao Hu, he's focused down. Ancestral hits though, keeping Greymane alive. The Poison Nova is dropped. Illidan in the backline, but once again, he's just left unattended. He gets taken out, and they're pushing in for the core grubby.
Yeah, when Greymane draws Ancestral Healing and he met us in the midst of 5, you can imagine how that's going to go. Ariel with the Blinding Sweep. Now the final stand here for WKG. The boss goes down.
Isolation. Spreading Isolation is dropped. Shield of Hope, keeping everyone slightly healthy, but it didn't actually have that much health down, so they are able to survive this. Now they're pushing in as 5, still trying to take this down as best they can. Twilight Archon is still up. Minion wave arriving. Sprays have been dropped. They're confident they can end here as the core is dropped to 66%. They're trying to move in. Wukong fighting from all angles with a nice little concave, trying to move in. Muradin moving on to the point, but it's too late. Core on 18%. That is going to be GG. And KT, kudos top, taking game number 1.
Twilight Archon, the infinitely lasting Archon at level 20, so strong with the Leeching Plasma. He was able to sustain himself up, and the 5 versus 4 push power, the experience that KT shows here in the team fights, the prowess, it carries them to that first map victory, but it was anything but convincing. It was as much WKG's throw as it was to the credit of KT here. A very heartbreaking loss there for WKG. It looks like they had been set to get their first map win here, but it is not to be, Thatcher.
Indeed, it was not to be, and it just seemed like Illidan was not on the same page as the rest of the team a couple times. Like, should I solo the boss while everyone else, while it's on 10%? Nope, he comes in and joins his team for the fight, because they was zoning. They took a fight when they shouldn't have, but he should have finished the boss. Yeah. Where they should he have jumped in with that metamorphosis or used it for an escape, seeing as this team are already retreating.
Exactly.
He doesn't seem to be on the same page as everyone else there.
And the thing is, metamorphosis until level 20, it offers a boost of health points, maximum health points, and that's it. It doesn't offer attack speed. It deals insignificant amounts of damage. So until level 20, when you get the demonic form, which allows you to mount up while you're in heroic, which allows that form to remain permanently until your next cast, where it refreshes. I mean, it's permanent. And it gives you that bonus attack speed. But that's at level 20. Still, 1 versus 5 pretty much goes how you would expect. And as soon as the Ancestral landed on Greymane, Illidan should have played a very safe role there. So not entirely on the same page. It could have finished the boss. They could have then backed off, get level 20, and close it out. Remember, that top keep was 5%, so a full HP boss would have been amazing.
Would have been lovely, and we can see here MVP given to T-Dye. And I think that's understandable. He was focused so much, but was still able to micro out of those situations a lot by staying amongst his team so that Illidan was always in danger. It was a really good job.
Yeah, nice trophy there for that ultimate victory coming out. And we're going to be looking at some of the stats here. 19 takedowns versus 11 tells a big story.
Yeah, we're literally ahead in every aspect. They destroyed 4 towers, they got more kills. They had that game. The only reason they lost is because they gave away the victory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened. I mean, if they just work on their teamwork and calls a little bit, kind of examine some of their mistakes, they could still have a better showing in this phase. They showed that they can do it in this game, but you mentioned that they have shown that in some of the previous series. For now, it does look like KT is the better and more experienced team, although they're fairly new themselves.